Hey guys, and welcome to my channel Glen. My name's Glenn and I like to share with you what's going on in the world of cryptocurrency as I go through it. So today's been a bit of a roller coaster. We're back to the volatility of Bitcoin again. It sort of stagnated for a while, obviously, and then we was in that descending triangle and then we had a big dip. You guys already know this, but now we're starting to see Bitcoin swing $400-500 from one part of the day to the next. So we're back to how Bitcoin usually rests in the world of trading, I suppose. But if you're not really into trading, today I wanted to discuss about whether Bitcoin at this point in time is a good time to buy. I believe that Bitcoin will eventually get to $100,000. So for me, if I buy at $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000, it doesn't really affect me too much. What is more important to me is that you invest when it's right for you. Remember, this is a very speculative investment. It's something that we have no guarantees that it's going to work or it's going to succeed. That the governments aren't going to clamp down on it for 10, 20 years at a time and try and ban it everywhere and stop it. We just don't know that. So realistically, you only want to invest what you're literally willing to wake up and lose one day. And this is something that I've been saying a lot. And that's something that I actually stick to. I have not taken any loans out to buy Bitcoin. I did when I first started off. I was just like everyone else. I maxed out a credit card, bought some Bitcoin, got involved in mining, then started to use cloud mining, jumped in on the ICO bandwagon. And obviously I lost money in that process, and then I had to pay my debts back. And I actually thought, you know what, I'm going to sit back, I'm going to sell off all my Bitcoin, which I found really difficult at the time. I remember, and I did a video about it. It was really hard to sort of detach yourself from your Bitcoin once you've been holding it. And I feel like this is how the Bitcoin maximalist mentality comes from. They find it really hard to distance themselves from their Bitcoin, which I completely understand. I get it. But obviously, I sold it all off and I started to pay back my credit cards. And I actually thought, you know what, I'm going to wait until I've got spare money that I'm willing to lose. So for me, that was more important than what price the Bitcoin was at on any given day. There was a point recently, as you guys may know, that Bitcoin went up to $14,000. And I was thinking, oh no, what if this is the bull run and I'm not in it at the moment, I'm not part of it, I'm missing out. And obviously that's the FOMO, that's the fear of missing out kicking in. So again, I understand the emotions behind it. Obviously this is something that you learn when you're actually in it. You can read about FOMO and you can understand FOMO, but once you're actually in it and living it day to day and you're checking the price and you wake up and you eat your Cocoa Pops and you think, oh shit, Bitcoin's just gone up massively and I didn't buy yesterday. Oh shit, I better buy today. Then you're actually in it, you know, and you actually feel it and then you really click and understand. You have to actually detach yourself and look back and say, oh, why did I buy yesterday? Why did I wait until it was at a high before I bought it? And then you realize. The same can be said for when it's going down. So when Bitcoin is at a low, people tend to think, oh, it's going to get lower. I better wait. And we can see this in the charts, looking back over the last sort of three or 4 months. Bitcoin has obviously gone from, like I say, all the way from 14,000 all the way down to obviously the lows the other day of, was it 7, 8, something like that. So there's quite a big swing there, actually 50% difference almost. So you can look at that and say, well, it's going to get lower. It's going to get lower. It's going to get lower. And then all of a sudden you're in, the fear of missing out because you're thinking all more long term. I want to buy it cheap so that I get bigger gains later. So again, you're in the fear of missing out part. What you need to do is actually think about, right, most importantly first, how much money do you have spare to invest that you don't mind losing? Now, anyone watching this video, a lot of people in investment videos and topics talk about percentages. So they'll say like 1% of my portfolio is in cryptocurrency, 10%. But actually, what does that mean in real world terms? So let's just say you're sitting at home and you have £2,000 in your bank. But out of that £2,000, let's just say you think, well, I don't want to lose all that £2,000. I actually need that later on in the year for this holiday or to do this or that. Now, obviously, you can have those conversations in your own mind. Well, what's more important, the holiday or the investment opportunity? But you have to realistically still live your life. You still have to, because you don't know how long this is going to take, and you don't want to be missing out on life experiences for some money later. I know a lot of people may disagree with that. Comment down below if you want to disagree with me on that one. I think there's an argument for both cases. But what are you willing to lose out of that £2,000? Let's just say that you're willing to lose £500 of it. Now that £500 is now what you're willing to put into Bitcoin. So that's your first decision. That is, to me, that is more important than the price of Bitcoin. Forget the price of Bitcoin. Just realize how much you've got and what you want to do with it. So if you're willing to lose this £500, now we're looking at the price of Bitcoin. So Bitcoin has gone on a massive bull run. It has gone up the last week, let's just say. It's gone up 10, 12%. Is that the right time to buy in? Well, then you need to ask yourself, what do I believe that Bitcoin will be worth in the future? And how long do I want to invest for? Do I want to put my £500 in, and do I want to make a return tomorrow? Obviously, we'd all love that. Do I realistically want to make a profit in the next year, 2 years, 3 years? When do I want that £500 back plus any gains that I might have had? So now you're setting yourself a time limit. Once you've decided that, if you actually look, like for me personally, I'm thinking I'm putting in amounts of money that I'm willing to lose, and I'm just forgetting that I've got it. It's just gone. Once I've bought Bitcoin, that's it, it's gone. For me, I'm thinking probably 3 to 5 years. That's when I'll be looking at saying, right, okay, well, let's look at selling what I bought and what gains I would have. So that's my time frame. Now, for you sitting there, you may be watching this and saying, well, I want to make gains by the end of the year. I want to do, then you have to ask yourself, based on all the research that's out there, there's plenty of technical analysis, there's loads of different opinions, bull markets, bear markets. Where do you honestly feel that Bitcoin can achieve in that time frame? And what I mean by that is that some people say, oh, Bitcoin's going to $1 million, and they're hyper bulls. They're just, tunnel vision. That's it, So for me, realistically, I believe that Bitcoin in the next 3 to 5 years will be worth $100,000. That's a price point that's sort of special in my mind. I'll probably cash in before it gets to 100,000 because I know the second it hits that, it's going to drop. So I would probably sell round about 80 to 90,000. Again, obviously, I would need to detach myself from the fear of missing out, because if we was rising that fast, you're always going to think it's going to go higher, it's going to go higher, it's going to go higher. So if you set yourself these goals, these targets beforehand, maybe make a note of it somewhere. I will cash out my Bitcoin at this price level. Then that way, whatever happens then, you're winning either way. You bought in at a price you was happy with an amount of money that you was happy to lose. And if it has gone up loads, yeah, you might think, oh, I wish I'd put more in it. But at least you've got something out of it. So now we're looking at, when do we want to invest that money in? So now we've decided what time frame we're looking at and how much we want to lose. And we've roughly gauged in our heads how much you believe, because that's all you can go on, really. All these technical analysis guys, all this TA, it's great, but it's not guaranteed 100% spot on. Otherwise, that person would be a millionaire very quickly, and they wouldn't share their information because it would affect the market. So then that what they predict wouldn't maybe come about. So you now think, right, okay, I believe Bitcoin is going to be, it's currently 8,000. I can see it being worth 16,000 at some point in the next 6 months to a year. Now, the reason I say that is I actually shared this on Twitter earlier. A lot of people talk about 100,000 and $1 million Bitcoin. But actually, if I was to say to you, here's this bar of Milky Bar, which is lovely, you can buy this off me for £5 now, and it's going to be worth, at some point, these did go for about £10. you'd be doubling your money. Now, obviously, for something that small, you'd want to be looking at making your investment quite soon. But if you're talking about Bitcoin, say, going from 8,000 where we are today to 16,000, that could quite possibly happen in the next 6 months. This is not financial advice. I'm not saying it will be. But if we look at the charts, obviously Bitcoin's all-time high was 20,000. It very rapidly got to 14,000 without much going on in the world of Bitcoin and news or massive increase in technology behind Bitcoin. It just had a run up to sort of 14K quite easily. So therefore, you could say, right, okay, I want to invest in at $8,000, and I believe it can get to 15, 16,000 by the end of 2019 at the beginning of 2020. So now you've set yourself roughly a goal for quite a short-term time frame, sort of in the next 4 to 5 months. Now, what you would have to do is you would buy in at a price based on that knowledge. So you would say, right, it's 16,000. If I invest my £500, it's currently 8,000. That means that I would double my money in 6 months. That's a pretty good investment. That's a good strategy to have. And then you could buy in, and who knows, Bitcoin may go on a bull run from that 16,000 all the way to 30,000. And you may think, oh God, I wish I'd stayed in to 30,000. But someone said something earlier that really sort of resonated with me. And they said that they would rather be a year early than a day late. So what I mean by that is that you can invest in Bitcoin and you may get in at £8,000. But what if it was to go tomorrow to £30,000 and you think, oh, fuck, I wish I invested yesterday. So you're a day late. But if you invested a year early, yeah, it might be 8,000, 9,000, 7,000, 6.5. Does that really matter too much? Someone put in my Telegram group chat, and not that I'm calling him out, it was a very good point. He said, Glenn, are you buying in at these levels? And I said, yes, I am. And he said, well, what if I reckon Bitcoin's going to go lower. And I said, yeah, I hope so. I hope it continues to go lower until we start having a next bull run, because that would give me more opportunities to buy at a price level that I already think that Bitcoin's good value now. So I think Bitcoin is good value right now. And you're telling me that I might be able to get it even cheaper than that. Awesome. That's my way of thinking. It doesn't mean that I'm hating or trolling on Bitcoin. A lot of people comment saying, oh, why do you hate Bitcoin? Why do you want it to go lower? I want it to go lower so I can get more of it. That's just the philosophy that I have. So once you've got this Bitcoin, you've got it at a price that you're happy with an amount of money that you're happy to lose. You can sit back now, and if your money completely disappears, so you lose the money completely, you've already mentally prepared for that, and you've also prepared for that financially. You lost that money, you were willing to lose it, you haven't really lost anything in the long term or the grand scheme of things. But let's say that it does go the opposite way. It goes on a bull run. So now you're thinking, okay, I'm starting to fear of missing out. Should I cash out now, or should I wait? Or try and stick true to obviously your key levels that you want to achieve and your time frame. If Bitcoin achieves £15,000 the next day, and you think, well, I was prepared to wait 6 months, maybe it's an idea to sort of see how it plays out. If it goes on a bull run and then obviously starts to slope off maybe 10, 20% from wherever it gets to. So say it was to get to $15,000, but then all of a sudden it went to 14, then 13. You could cash out at that point and then see how far it goes down, and then obviously buy back in. Obviously, then you're getting into the trading technology side of things, and obviously that's a bit risky. But you have to stick true to obviously what your original goal was. You wanted to cash out when it got to say 15 or 16,000, so you would double your money, and you hit that. Whatever time frame that is, 6 months, year, whenever it was, you've hit it. And the only thing that you could obviously start to experience at that point, again, is more fear of missing out. Oh no, I want more gains. I want bigger gains. If I hold on to it just a bit longer, what if I buy back in? If you cash out your Bitcoin at that time, the target that you set it at, you can then sit back, maybe take a day or two, and actually set yourself new goals. So now you've got your 500s turned into 1,000. You can sit back and say, right, do I want to put £1,000 in it at Bitcoin being worth 15,000? Well, when do I expect it to go to 20 or 30,000? Set yourself another goal of 6 months or a year and sit back. If you're waiting 6 months, why not wait a couple of weeks to see if it drops maybe a few more thousand. It's going to have a dip at some point. It may start rising, but you've still increased your net value, if you like. You've lost your Satoshi value. So it depends how you want to look at it. Again, this is all what targets you set yourself. Some people will be watching this video and they'll be screaming, saying, "No, it's all about stacking satoshis. It's all about holding and hodling and all that sort of stuff." And that's great. But we've seen those people, if they had cashed out at 18, 19, 20,000 a year ago and they'd bought back in when it went down to 3,000, they would have stacked a lot more satoshis. Unless they bought in at like $10 or something, which is great for them. But that's sort of like a strategy. But for it to get from 20 to 3,000, that took, several months to get there. So you could actually have cashed out and just took a step back and gone, "Do you know what? I've made this money. I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to set myself new goals. I'm going to buy in at this level. I'm going to wait this time frame. And then whenever it hits this, then I'll cash out." That's probably the best investment strategy that I can give you, because then you're not falling into the trap of following what everyone else is doing. There's always going to be a YouTube video or a story of someone that bought exactly on the low and sold it exactly at the high. And you'll always think, "Oh God, I wish I was that guy." No matter what level it was. You could buy at 8K, goes on a massive bull run up to 65, 64,000, say a random number, and someone sold at that level. And they timed it perfect and they bought back in at 40,000. And then it went on another bull run up to 100,000. There's always going to be that story. And unless you're sitting there thinking, "Yeah, actually, I think I can predict it perfectly," then there's no point setting yourself up for a disappointment. You might as well just set yourself these goals. How much money do I want to lose? How much time frame do I want to put on it? And what would I like to achieve? And I sat back and, like I say, I thought about it earlier, and I thought, a lot of people bang on about this Bitcoin being worth 1,000,000 or 100,000, whatever. What about just doubling your money? What about just Bitcoin getting to 16,000? We're currently at 8,000 today. Would no one be happy with that? Would no one, I know a lot of people watching this video, we're all here because we believe, well, some of you will be here because you believe Bitcoin may be the future of how we actually do sort of business and e-commerce online, and the future of the financial system. Some people will just be watching this because they want to make loads and loads of money really quickly. So for those people, they're essentially buying a lottery ticket. They're hoping that if they put in £100 today, that somehow it will turn into £1,000,000 tomorrow. And being in cryptocurrency, that could happen. There is obviously a slight chance that could happen. Again, not financial advice. But I would honestly sit back and set yourself these goals. So when do I want to buy in? How long do I want to keep that money invested in for? And then when do I want to cash out? And if you set yourself them goals and you get close to it, even if you just get close, you put in £500, you buy in at 8,000, but that wasn't the lowest. It actually dipped down to 6.5, and you're thinking, "I didn't buy the bottom." That's fine. You bought in at your level. You still believe that Bitcoin could go to 12,000, 16, 20, whatever it may be. And when it gets near those levels, maybe in the future, then you cash out. Do you know what? You've done exactly what you said you were going to do. So you're already mentally on a win, financially on the win. And if you lost all that money, it was money that you was willing to lose anyway. So you're not ever in a position of suffering with, you see these people, it reminds me of gambling. When you invest large amounts of money or regular money and you're expecting a return and you don't get that, you start to suffer with a bit of anxiety. You start getting anxious. "Oh God, like, what if the price goes up? What if it goes down? Oh, I better check it. It's 3 a.m. Oh, I've just woke up and I've just thought about Bitcoin." And again, I've gone through it, guys. I've been there. I've done it. I was checking, I was checking the Coin Market Cap website at 2 a.m, going for a piss in the middle of the night, checking the price. "Oh God, it's gone up $400. Why didn't I buy Litecoin versus Bitcoin?" I've been there. I understand it, and I understand where you're coming from. But you start to suffer with maybe a form of depression. I haven't suffered so much with that, but I know that when I invested in Envy and the ICO, I was a bit more down the fact that obviously I talked about it on this YouTube channel than I had that I'd lost a bit of money on it. So that's something that maybe a lot of you won't experience out there, but you may experience the whole like, oh, I've lost money in the ICO fad, and also with say Bitcoin, you might invest today at 8,000, it could go back down to 2,000. I don't know, and you may suffer with depression with that because you've put in more of yourself, whether that's your wealth, your time, energy. You've put more into it than you was willing to lose. So that can come into play, anxiety, depression, and obviously that can make you detached from other things, family, friends, socializing, going out, or a lot of people go out but they're actually sitting there on their phone all the time checking the price, and people say, look, look at this beautiful day, look at the kids playing, and again, I've been there, I've been that guy, and still do with certain aspects of things. You don't want to sort of give yourself too much to cryptocurrency. If you just invest and believe that something will happen special with Bitcoin, which I do, you just need to let that play out. You need to let that, go. So, I invested £500 just recently into Bitcoin, and I think I've checked my wallet once. So I've learned to detach myself from that investment. I've just forgotten that it's there. I don't care if the prices go down tomorrow. It just means I will then look at, if the prices was to go down in the next coming weeks, say it goes back down to 6,500, 7,000. I may look at it and then set myself new goals on that time, depending on what's happening in my life. I might think, okay, do you know what? Forget about that last 500 that I invested in. Today's a new day. Today's a new week. Today's a new month. I got paid. I sold my iPhone, or I sold something on Facebook or eBay. I've now got this £300. I don't want to lose all of it, but okay, let's say £50. So I'm going to invest £50 back into some more Bitcoin at today's prices. And do you know what? I'm going to set it as the same target as my last investment. I'm going to wait until around about 15, 16,000. Or you may want to set a different goal. You may think, actually, do you know what? This 50 quid, because it's a lot smaller amount than the first one, I don't mind losing this as such. So I might actually try and wait for it to go back up to 8K, and I'm going to cash back out then, because it's a smaller amount of money. So that's like my honest, down to earth, normal guy investment strategy, technique. Obviously, I'm not financially qualified to inform you guys of how to spend your money and when to spend your money. And I've never pretended to be. But what I have got is experience in gaining money and losing money, and how that affects you psychologically and physically. I've been there, I've had the sleepless nights, so I've lived it and experienced it. So I want to share that with you guys. I know a lot of people watching this are generally a bit younger than me, maybe about the same sort of age, between sort of like 15 to 30-year-old males. So I don't want you to watch this video and think, oh, Glenn was just chatting a load of crap, because you will experience that at some point in your life. And maybe you need to experience that so later on in life to not do it. It's like I have. If I had watched a video a few years ago of someone telling me how to and not to do things, I probably would have ignored it. But this is me giving you, and maybe there's one or two of you out there that watch this video and go, do you know what? I was about to invest my £10,000 inheritance money that I got from my nan dying. I was going to put it all in Bitcoin. But maybe there's some of you out there that actually thought, do you know what? I'd be really gutted if I lost all 10 grand of this. That's my nan's inheritance that she gave me. Do you know what? I'm only going to put in 2 grand, because if I lost 2 grand, I could still live with that. And maybe you won't suffer with the depression, anxiety, and some of the other drawbacks that you have from having that sort of weight on your shoulders. So if I get to a couple of you out there, then that's me. That's my job done. Give this video a like if you've agreed with some of the things I've said. If you disagree, comment down below. I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear you know, what your thoughts are about how to invest, when to invest. Some of you are Bitcoin maximalists and you're like, just put everything all in, sell your house, sell your credit, max out your loans, you know, do all this stuff, buy Bitcoin, that's it, and just sit there in a forest and live in a tree house until Bitcoin goes up, you know. And there are people that do that. There are YouTubers that you can watch that actually live that sort of lifestyle. So yeah, I'd love to hear both sides of the fence. I'm sort of more in the middle and sort of like, yeah, down to earth, more sort of level headed. So in my opinion, we'll see. If Bitcoin goes to £1 million tomorrow, you'll be saying, Glenn, I told you, you should have put everything all in, and you'd be right. But it all depends on you as a person and how much of that load you want to carry, you know, that burden you want to carry. If you want to carry all of it and be like, I'm taking on the financial system by going all in on Bitcoin, then yeah, go for it. Great, you're built for this. If you've got wife, kids, mortgage, car, got to go work every day and all that sort of stuff, you don't want that burden on your life. You've got enough going on as it is. So that's my honest take on it. I hope that that's maybe touched with some of you guys, how you may be feeling at these sort of times. I noticed that in the Telegram group chat, which you can be a part of, the link to it is down below. Join the Telegram group chat, be a part of the conversation. I noticed when Bitcoin goes down in price, the you know, the amount of people that chat and comment and share stories and stuff really drops off, and obviously views on this channel and also comments on this on these videos really slope off when Bitcoin drops in price, especially suddenly. There's normally like a small amount of time where people go, oh, Bitcoin's gone down 5 grand, da, 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 da. And then I notice over the days it goes really quiet and sort of people don't want to talk about it. And that's that anxiety and depression side, I think, kicking in with a lot of people and investors. And then what we tend to see is that as soon as the price of Bitcoin starts to shoot back up again, there's a massive influx of people. Oh, has everyone seen Bitcoin's gone up to 10K? Oh yeah, I can't believe it. Oh, I bought in at 4K. And then all of a sudden the conversation starts to spiral back in, and that's the highs and lows. And that reminds me very much of a gambler's sort of mentality, sitting at a blackjack table in a casino. You know, you see people's heads drop when they haven't got a good hand, but when they've got a good hand, they have to tell the world about, oh, last night I won 4 grand at the casino, but the night before they don't tell everyone, well, actually, the night before I lost 4 grand. That's sort of a gambler's mentality. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys, and that's it from me. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to click the subscribe button. Also, give this video a thumbs up if you like this new style of content. I'm actually trying something different with my phone. This is actually shooting in a 4K video, and I thought I'd do that rather than just doing the little webcam on my laptop. So let me know if you like this style of video, and maybe I'll do more of them. It takes a bit more work, but you know, if you guys prefer it, then I'll change my setup. And that's it from me, guys. I'll see you on the next video from Big Glen. Bye.